Welcome to the User-Centered Design Training module. In this module, we will review the concepts of user-centered design, UCD, and how to apply the principles to help aid in successful product development. Review the topic of global users and some of the challenges of designing for different cultures around the world. Take a look at how accessible users' needs are unique and affect how products should be designed. User-Centered Design, UCD, is a framework of processes in which the needs, wants, and limitations of end users of a product, service, or process are given extensive attention at each stage of the design process. User-centered design can be characterized as a multi-stage problem-solving process that not only requires designers to analyze and foresee how users are likely to use a product, but also test the validity of their assumptions with regards to user behavior in real-world tests with actual users at each stage of the process, from requirements, concepts, pre-production models, mid-production, and post-production, creating a circle of proof back to and confirming or modifying the original requirements. The user-centered design process is composed of several methods and tasks that should be followed during the development process. The steps include the following: plan, research, design, adapt, measure. The steps can be fluid depending on project needs, timeline, budgets, and research findings. Having a predefined planning checklist can help ensure a smooth and successful design process. Some of the action items that should be planned for during the process include the following: user-based research, hypothesis generation, design and prototype creation, user testing, review and understanding, and implementation. When designing a product, it is easy to assume that everyone is like you. However, this leads to a strong bias and often ends in an ineffective design. To avoid this bias, you need to learn about your user. The following is a typical top-level characterization of popular user-centered design methods. User-centered design is a fluid model that can be adapted when new information or challenges are discovered. For example, if during usability testing the hypothesis is discovered to be flawed, then the team can go back to any step of the process to find the missing information to help solve the problem. With the release of the product, we can now gather insights on how we can iterate the product and look for new opportunities to provide new solutions with new features. Here is a checklist of some of the steps in the measuring stage of the user-centered design process: product release, gather data, analyze the findings, look for new opportunities. Next, let's look at designing software for a global market. Probably the biggest misconception we encounter when talking to people about globalization is that software globalization, internationalization, and localization all mean the same thing. And that thing is somehow related to something almost anyone can understand: translation. But true globalization is dependent on all of these facets of a product and its marketing. In the context of software, translation is one part of localization. Internationalization is a prerequisite of localization. Internationalization and localization are part of globalization. Globalization includes many business-related activities outside of the product itself. To achieve true globalization, we need to have a better understanding of our users and their cultures. Next, let's look at designing software that is accessible for all users. The web is fundamentally designed to work for all people, whatever their hardware, software, language, cultural, location, or physical or mental abilities. When the web meets this goal, it is accessible to people with a diverse range of hearing, movement, sight, and cognitive abilities. It is our duty to not only be aware of their needs of the user with disabilities, but also to design and develop our content to be fully accessible and to provide a good user experience for those individuals. Over 285 million people in the world are visually impaired. 246 million have low vision, and 39 million are blind according to the World Health Organization. Cataracts are the leading cause of vision loss in the world, but diabetes, glaucoma, vitamin A deficiency, and age-related macular degeneration also play a large role in blindness after birth. In the U.S., where the majority of our end users are based, there are 1.3 million legally blind people, 40% of the population has received some college education, and 11.9% of the population has graduated with a degree. Specialized software devices and other forms of technology have removed many academic barriers and allowed students with disabilities to receive a proper education. Post-secondary institutions are required by federal law to accommodate to all students with disabilities. Most campuses maintain assistive technology centers where these learners can acquire the necessary equipment and material. A list of some of the common assistive technologies offered on campus are listed here. Thank you for watching this presentation on how user-centered design is used at Ellucian.